Alright, let's dive into something that's been blowing up online lately. A guy named Sean Leith who's ditching his pension plan to retire at 45. Sounds crazy, right? But here's the kicker, he's an actuarial consultant, so he's not just some random guy making wild financial decisions. He's got the expertise to back it up. Personally, I think this story is fascinating because it challenges everything we've been told about retirement. We're always hearing about the importance of pensions, but Sean's approach is a complete 180. So let's break this down and see what we can learn, or maybe even question, about his strategy. First off, Sean's plan revolves around funneling as much of his £3,400 monthly salary into a stocks and shares ISA, specifically focusing on ETFs. Now, what makes this really interesting is his decision to cut back on his pension contributions. Most of us are taught to max out our pensions for tax relief, but Sean's realized that if he wants to retire by 45, the traditional pension route just isn't going to cut it. In my opinion, this is a bold move, but it's also a calculated one. He's essentially betting on the market to outperform the long-term benefits of a pension. What many people don't realize is that pensions are designed for a much later retirement age, and if you're aiming to retire early, the rules of the game change completely. Sean's already seen some success. He's turned £29,500 into £67,000 in just a couple of years. But here's where it gets tricky. He's relying on a 10% annual return to hit his £700,000 goal by 45. From my perspective, that's a pretty ambitious target. The stock market can be unpredictable, and while ETFs are generally less risky than individual stocks, there's no guarantee of consistent returns. If you take a step back and think about it, Sean's plan hinges on everything going exactly right, no market crashes, no unexpected expenses, and no changes in his income. That's a lot of variables to control. One thing that immediately stands out is Sean's lifestyle and expenses. His monthly outgoings are relatively low, £1,150 for a mortgage, £140 for council tax, and so on. This raises a deeper question. Is his plan only feasible because his cost of living is so manageable? If he were in a more expensive city, or had a family to support, could he still pull this off? Personally, I think this is a critical point. Early retirement strategies often work best for single individuals with modest expenses, but they're not a one-size-fits-all solution. Another detail I find fascinating is Sean's skepticism about the state pension. He's convinced it won't exist, or at least won't be accessible to him, by the time he's eligible. This reflects a broader trend of younger generations losing faith in traditional retirement systems. In my opinion, this skepticism is both understandable and concerning. On one hand, it's smart to take control of your financial future, on the other, it's worrying that so many people feel they can't rely on the safety nets we've always been told to trust. What this really suggests is that the concept of retirement is evolving. Sean's plan isn't just about quitting work at 45, it's about redefining what retirement means. He wants to travel, play sports, and live life on his terms. But here's the catch, he's worried about doing it alone. Most of his friends aren't on the same path, and that's a common issue with early retirement. If you're retiring decades before your peers, who are you going to spend your time with? This raises a deeper question about the social implications of early retirement. It's not just a financial decision, it's a lifestyle one. So what can we take away from Sean's story? Personally, I think it's a wake-up call to rethink our approach to retirement. It's easy to follow the conventional wisdom, but sometimes, breaking the mold can lead to incredible opportunities. That said, Sean's plan is not without risks, and it's definitely not for everyone. If you're considering something similar, I'd urge you to do your research, consult a financial advisor, and be honest about your risk tolerance. Early retirement is a tempting goal, but it requires discipline, sacrifice, and a bit of luck. As for Sean, I'll be curious to see how his journey unfolds. Will he hit his £700,000 target by 45? Will he find a community of like-minded retirees? These are questions only time will answer. But one thing's for sure, his story has sparked a conversation about what retirement could, and maybe should, look like in the future. So, what do you think? Is Sean onto something, or is he taking too big a gamble? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts.